I'm continuing my trend of trailer breakdowns way too late, and this time we're going with Fallen Order. Battlefront Updates and I already did a discussion from Celebration if you want to check that out, but here is my take now that I've had time to sit down and watch it more closely. Predictably, it starts out with a montage of our new hero, Cal Kestis, and his life on the planet Braca in the Mid-Rim. He's a member of the Scrapper Guild, and during the panel we were told they basically rip apart old Clone Wars ships for parts. It looks like while he's tearing one down, he comes across a Jedi starfighter with the astromech still plugged in, which will remind him of where he came from. Cal is a former Padawan who survived Order 66, and he now has 3 rules of survival. Don't stand out, accept the past, and trust no one. While on a job, their ship breaks apart and he and his friend nearly fall into what looks like a sarlacc. I don't know why they're working on top of a sarlacc that has to be breaking a number of OSHA restrictions, but Cal will likely save his friend by using the Force, outing himself right in front of an Imperial droid. This setup sounds very similar to Kanan's in the book A New Dawn. I find it kind of strange that Cal's name is also so similar to Kanan's real name, Caleb, but I think that introduction will be where the similarities end. It looks like the second sister shows up to Cal's place of work and he'll have to go on the run. I think it would be a nice touch if even the friend he saved turned against him to go with that trust no one theme. The second sister appeared in one single frame of the Darth Vader comic. I'd highly recommend reading that series to get more understanding of the Inquisitorius at the time. Who knows, more of them might show up. Stormtroopers and KX droids will both likely be enemies in the game, which I think is cool. Stormtroopers will probably be the weakest enemies, and then KX droids will be a little stronger, and then Purge troopers, and finally Inquisitors, and I'm sure there will be more enemies thrown in along the way. But Cal is on some sort of watery mountain planet, which still might be Braca, but it looks like he can wall run as a Jedi. That makes a lot of sense considering Respawn using that mechanic in the Titanfall games. Moving on, we see Cal and his droid BD-1 on what I'm guessing is Kashyyyk. The dead clone on the ground is wearing green armor similar to the 41st, who we know was on Kashyyyk. Obviously, this is a forest and there are spiderwebs, and we know the planet has some giant spiders on it. This might be Cal exploring the Shadowlands. Also, let me just say that the amount of times BD-1 was compared to a dog-like best friend companion terrifies me. I will do anything to protect that droid, and I don't even know him yet. We can see he's equipped with a spotlight, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of useful functions throughout the game. We fade to another planet that feels an awful lot like Dathomir to me. Red and rocky. That's a planet we haven't explored a whole lot, and I'd love to see it for myself. There is a lot of potential there. Maul could be starting up Crimson Dawn. We could run into some Night Sister zombies. And now I'm starting to get into irresponsible speculation when I don't even know for sure it's that planet, but it sounds like a really fun place for the game to take us. Next is our first look at the Purge Trooper in the game. They were also used in the Darth Vader comic, where we see proof that they can definitely take on a number of Force users. I hope they're good and tough to defeat. The background looks like forest, so I'd guess this is still on Kashyyyk, and notice Cal doesn't have a lightsaber. I'm wondering if the early parts of the game will be about finding one. In the meantime, we'll probably have to fight more hand-to-hand or with our Force abilities and maybe a blaster. Even then, I hope we're limited in what we can do. As a Padawan, we should not be able to take down enemies with the Force easily. It should be a struggle. Jumping back to Braca, we see Cal escaping on the ship I'm guessing will take us planet hopping, since it's also seen in the background on what I think is Dathomir. It looks like it's owned by a woman named Seer, at least I think that's what they said in the panel. She was described as a former Jedi Knight who serves as a mentor. I'm thinking she'll be helping Cal stay in hiding, and maybe his own brush with the Inquisitors puts them both in danger. During the panel, they said that she wouldn't be like Cal's master. It's not a traditional Jedi relationship like that. It's vague, so I'm not sure exactly what that means. But there's not time to figure out because the second sister jumps onto the ship and begins using the Force to break in and steer the ship at the same time, which is awesome. They have described her as being a very crafty villain. I do think there is a strong chance she could turn out to be Barisafi from the Clone Wars. Whenever masks are involved, I always start to get suspicious, thinking it's because we know the person's face, but we'll just have to wait and see. The trailer ends inside what I assume is a Jedi structure as Cal claims a lightsaber. Whether it's his or an ancient design that he found, we don't know. My guess is an ancient double-bladed design that's been broken in half. During the panel, it was said that the lightsaber will change throughout the game, so maybe it's a symbol of the Jedi Order at this point. Broken, but not unrepairable. And that's the end. I am very into this basic premise. I think the idea of a vulnerable Padawan on the run is a great way to explore creative game mechanics, and speaking of, now's a good time to talk about gameplay. This was a story trailer meant for people like me, Star Wars enthusiasts who are more into the story than the gameplay right now. Well, they have pulled me in. EA Play is in early June this year, and I have to imagine we'll learn a lot more about the game technically then. But what little they said in the panel sounded like exactly what I want. They said it's not a button masher and described the combat as thoughtful. As much as I enjoy The Force Unleashed, I didn't want to feel like I could take on the whole Empire myself like Dak. I want to come out of combat with a Purge Trooper feeling like I just barely survived. I want Stormtroopers to be a challenge if there's more than one of them. Thoughtful combat at least sounds like it's a step in that direction. But that's all for now. The game comes out on November 15th, only 3 days after Disney Plus and The Mandalorian, so that's gonna be a busy week. Let me know what you think of Fallen Order in the comments, and check out my talk with Battlefront updates at Celebration here. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.